Is a B-book broker really that bad? Stick around. Hey guys, warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining me. All right, so we've got a B-book broker. What is a B-book broker? A B-book broker is basically a broker who does not pass your trade on to the underlying market. So for example, if you place a trade to buy £100 a point on the FTSE 100, for example, a B-book broker will keep that trade and take the other side of the trade, as opposed to actually buying the equivalent amount in the underlying market and offsetting their risk and just charging you a spread for transacting that. So they're just like a middleman. So B-book brokers get a bit of a bad reputation because the theory behind them is that they want you to lose. If they're taking the other side of the trade, then just like a bookmaker, surely they want you to lose. But it's not quite as simple as that. Because if you imagine a B-book broker, what he does is he takes your trade and you want to buy £100 a point, and there's 10 people who want to sell at £10 a point. He takes that one, he takes those 10 people, he's got £100 a point long, £100 a point short, makes his 1 point spread in the middle of it. Thank you very much. He does that on a bigger scale. What does that mean for him? Well, it just means that he doesn't want anyone particularly to lose. He just wants flow. He wants order flow. And so the more people that are trading, then the easier it is for him to balance out the books. Because if you think about it, you know, not only have they got FTSE 100 stuff, they've also got maybe some of the shares in the FTSE 100. How are they weighted? And so they can use intricate equations and formulas to make themselves as hedged as possible across all they've got. You know, so they know the correlations between this and this. They know that some of the currency pairs triangulate out between this. So all they want is much order flow as they can. And then yes, they are technically the middleman, but they don't really want you to lose. They want you to be in the game for as long as possible, because that means more order flow, and more order flow means more spread, which means more profit, holding charges, all the stuff that they make money on. So, you know, we get this bad reputation if they're taking the other side of the trade. You know, in theory, if you were the only person trading on their platform, then yes, you know, you would be taking the other side of their trade, and over the long term, they wouldn't want you to win because you're on the other side of the trade. But in reality, it's not the case. There's so many people who are trading, they want ideally everybody to be, and the more people, obviously, the more people you've got, the more likely you're going to have, you know, more of a 50-50. Yes, of course, it swings up and down, and we sometimes see, you know, some people like 70% long or 80% long. That might be on one instrument, but let's say someone's 80% long CAC, and let's say they're 80% short FTSE. It's similar, so they don't have to be. They're kind of saying, okay, well, we're not completely exposed to one. You know, we've got some correlation there. And what they'll do is, if they get to a certain point, and let's keep it simple and say, let's use the FTSE as an example. Let's say that they have a massive amount of people long, and they've aggregated it all out with all the stocks and all stuff, and they realize that they're a little bit exposed long. Then they might hedge off in the underlying market, and so their exposure is down to a comfortable level. And so yes, they still hedge some bits and pieces because they're taking the aggregate of the exposure and saying, oh, we're a little bit too exposed on this asset or that asset, let's do a little bit of hedging. So unlike, you know, another broker might pass through everything, they just aggregate everything. So it's not that bad, guys. And they get a bad reputation of B-book brokers. People think, oh, you know, they're out to rob you, they're out to this and that and the other. No, they just want as many people through the platform as possible, doing as many trades as possible. They need flow, which is why they have tight spreads, which is why they encourage people to come in, because the more flow they've got, obviously the more money they make, the less hedging they've got to do, because hedging costs money, right? It costs them money. They don't want to be hedging. And again, this is a little bit of a myth of like, you know, they don't want to be hedging because it costs money. They would much rather have an equal amount either side, whether it's spread across 100 shares on the FTSE 100 and the FTSE exposure, whether it's, you know, currencies all triangulated off. That's why currencies are super popular, Euro USD, and you've got USD JPY and Euro Yen, all those triangulate out. And if you can get enough people doing deals, then they don't have to hedge, because hedging costs money. It costs them. They have to go to the interbank. They have to, you know, not an awful lot of money, but still money they could do without spending. Much better if they can take a spread and be a middleman between all these people. So B-book broker, guys, you know, don't discount them. Don't say, oh, you don't get such a bad reputation because of this. You know, recognize the model, understand the model, and think, listen, if they've got flow, they've got volume, then they really just want you to be trading for a long period of time. You know, they're pretty agnostic as to how you do. They obviously want you to succeed because that means you're going to be continue trading. If you're losing money, then they have to get somebody else to come in and open an account, and they have to have the flow of people. But if you're consistently making money, or even if you're kind of breaking even, but you're still kind of churning away and making trades, then that's good for them. They're happy for that. So they'd rather you make money. You know, the myth of you wanting to lose isn't true. They'd rather you make money because they want you to trade on the platform, because the more people are trading, the easier it is for them to neutralize out their exposure, and the better it is and the more money they make because the more volume they've got. So is a B broker really that bad? No, it's not. Take care. Bye-bye.